What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast, and welcome to the first episode of our special week. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. This is celebrating you guys. And as a thank you, we have some incredible guests lined up. But today is our first guest lined up. It's Survivor Now and Then week. So we brought a new era player to break down the new era. Season 46, episode 4. I'm Randy. I'm joined by Abraham, and today we have from season 43, Morriah Young, the Rainbow Queen herself, Morriah, and we have another special guest. So I have to ask the other special guests we have here. What are their names?
This is Nye today, short for nighttime. And you might catch Evie, Noonie, and Maury. They might come crawling past or hopping up on me, so we'll see. But right now, it's just Nye.
We're playing a drinking game. Every time you see one of Mariah's cats today, you have to take a drink.
Am I going to work tomorrow? No.
Let's see. We have a few people. Also, you can join our live chat. We like to call it Ancient Voices. So we have Ken's. I love the cat. Amazing. Jay, congrats on 1,000 subs. And then Jay also adds, hey, nighttime. That is amazing. So now we can get into the Survivor side of things. Morriah, thank you so much for joining us today. And
oh my God, thanks for having me.
We've been so excited to have you on. And I'm kind of curious right off the bat, before we actually get speaking about the episode itself that played out tonight, how have you been enjoying this season so far, season 46?
I feel like I've been on the same ride that Banu's on right now. Whatever roller coaster Banu is on, that is the same ride Survivor has been taking me through. It's been a stressful season to watch so far. I've been enjoying it. But when they mentioned Soda's name today, I nearly had a stroke. I was like, hold on now. I was praying to God the way Banu was praying. I was like, hold on now, wait, I'm not ready for Soda to go. So, but
Soda is so interesting. I didn't expect her to be who she is on this season.
Oh my God.
Kind of cast her like she was gonna be quiet or something, but no, she's playing the game.
She's playing the game, and I feel like she has a really great balance between being this incredibly strong presence. People know she's playing the game, but also she's just cool, and she brings so many good vibes to the tribe camp. Like the moments of the clips of her just singing brings me so much joy.
Oh my God,
so cool! I'm like, okay, I would definitely get along with Soda if we were on the same tribe.
Yeah,
I love that scene, the singing scene. This is where right before they were about to go to challenge, I said Soda and the CBS production band. The fact that they added music, and for a second I was sitting there and I was like, why does this sound so good? Like I want this on Spotify or something right now. And that's the interaction that we love to see, like with these kind of longer episodes, something that we weren't getting back on kind of the
back in our season when we only got the 60 minutes.
Yeah. Are you guys a fan of the 2-hour episode? How do you feel about the 2-hour episodes?
I'm good with it as a kickoff, because here's the thing that I always said when they kicked off this new era Survivor, you don't have enough time to get to know the actual cast.
Yeah, especially in the 26 days. Yeah.
We had 9 days with Banu, and I'm pretty sure some people were sitting there crying tonight because he has a great story, but we would have never gotten to know him. And it's unfortunate that they're developing the new version of Survivor. Personally, I wish I'd have pushed to the other season, like 47 or 48, but we get a chance to see the actual cast and kind of get to know them and pick your favorites out. Like now we know, hey, I know who I want to win.
Yeah. You have a winning pick already.
Always got to win a pick.
I'm gonna be talking about my winner pick a little bit later. Morriah, to answer the question that you had for us, I love it. I know obviously the season premiere was amazing. And then we had the 2-hour episode in week 2 where a lot of people weren't happy about it because they said it dragged on in that first hour. and we were just getting nothing but camp life. But it was almost me looking at it from the sense of, wait, were we not complaining a few years back about not getting camp life?
Yeah.
And now we're getting camp life, and now it's like, oh, we don't want this. We just want to see, the game move on. And I still enjoy it. The more camp life, the better, because we get more interaction from these people, and we actually get to like learn who these people are in a sense, rather than have someone go home and be like, who were
Mariah? They're like, it's so much stuff they miss because they don't get to see us at camp life.
Yeah, I feel like it really helps us understand everyone's relationships more too. Like, I love this relationship that Tevin and Hunter has, and we get to kind of see it growing and stuff. And I wonder if the episodes were shorter, we probably wouldn't even get an opportunity to like see that bloom. So
I don't think so. I think you would, especially tonight with the episode about his fish and cleaning the fish and his dad.
That was really sweet.
You would, if it to me, it would say which one was more important, to see that relationship or to have both. I would rather have both, because
yeah, definitely.
There is so much funny stuff that happens at camp that you just don't get a chance to see, and we don't get to see it.
Even
as players.
What was the episode when it was it Charlie who was playing? They were naming I think Taylor Swift songs.
Oh my God.
And they were just naming the songs back and forth and created this whole game. That was hilarious. I would have definitely lost that game.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, Mariah, how many Taylor Swift songs can you name off the top of your head?
I know one.
No, why would you ask me that question when we're on a live? See up in these comments. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Never.
Bad Blood is the only one I know.
Yeah. I think you know more than me. I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift stan here. So I love
Taylor, but I'm like not a committed Swiftie, like I don't know. Like I'm just like, I might put on the uniform, but I'm not necessarily going to war for Taylor. Like, I love her. She's great. But, like...
You know who a big Swiftie is?
Yeah.
Charlie.
I hope Charlie gets to meet her.
Jumped and said her name today when he was jumping in the challenge.
I hope he gets a chance to meet Taylor Swift.
Me too.
He's putting it out there.
Let's name it for him. Let's name it and claim it.
This is something that I would try to do. Like, I love Ariana Grande. That's like my queen energy, stuff like that. So I feel like if I'm going on Survivor, I almost feel like he's like, how many times, if I just keep saying Taylor Swift, CBS is going to show it. The likelihood of her seeing it is high if I just keep saying Taylor. I almost feel like that could have been his strategy, because if I'm trying to meet Ariana Grande, I could easily go out on the island, just always say Ariana Grande. It's a move. It's a power move.
Go for it. If you have an opportunity to meet Taylor Swift, you go for it. Like, why not? I'm not mad at it at all.
CBS, millions of people watching it, producers.
Go for it.
Especially if you get deep in the game. You can't get voted out now. But if you get deep in the game, I'll be like, hey, Taylor is on the list.
Yep.
So I have some comments here. Everyone's been hopping in our live chat. Ken said this earlier, Mariah, I believe, when you were talking about Soda's name being brought up, which we'll speak on. Don't come at my girls. So I think we all agree with that. Now, where I want to start off, before we actually get into the episode dynamic and some of the stuff that we saw play out in this episode, is I want to get your guys' opinions on the episode itself, if you enjoyed it. Just a few comments here. First off, Kimberly, thank you so much. You have all become my go-to place to go after the episode. I love the Randy Abraham guest dynamic. Thank you so much. That means the world. But we have a few comments here. Jay says, Survivor needs a rehaul for 47-48. Switch it up and do 2 tribes to start, and then switch to 3 tribes at final 15. That is something that if Jeff Probst listens to anything, I think everyone's just like, please go back to 2. And then the last thing I'll show is Kimberly says they need to go back to all game bots. So, I mean, interesting takes. I'll go to Mariah first. We've heard some of Abraham's takes since he's been on the show with me for years now. And he got to be the start of the new era in 41, being on season 43, being a fan who did the 3 tribe experience. Is it time for Survivor to go back to the 2 tribes?
I think a little bit, yes, because it's what everyone's craving. Like, that's not the first time I heard that argument. Everyone's been saying go back to the two tribes. And I think the reason why is because we keep on seeing the same thing play out with the three tribes. And even though it's not, I don't know if the new era has been going long enough for me to quite say that it happens every time, but I think people hate the story of one tribe becoming the underdog necessarily. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing this season. Like, we've seen the same tribe be at the bottom, and I think people hate that story. Whereas though when you have a clear divide between a group of people, just two big tribes, it doesn't necessarily feel like one tribe necessarily keeps losing. The story is more focused on these two big groups of people, and the dynamic is more interesting. So I think that's where people's frustration is.
And I also, I'm so sorry. I was just going to add to the point. This is something that we've seen with two tribes as well. I mean, Palau is one of my favorite seasons, but that's a great example of a tribe just getting decimated in a two tribe format. So I think the frustration, as you said, Morriah, I think it comes from, we've seen this definitely back-to-back seasons with Lulu last year and now Yanu this year. I almost feel like if this wasn't a reoccurring thing, I feel like no one would really care. But now that it's kind of happened over and over, people are like, there's got to be something causing this. So I'm interested to see if going to two tribes would actually solve anything.
I mean,
I don't necessarily think it would. I don't necessarily think it'll stop one tribe from dominating the other. I think the difference is the amount of people on the tribe. So I think that there's still a possibility, if it's like two gigantic tribes, one tribe can surface on top and one tribe can continue to lose, but the amount of people makes those interactions so much more interesting, and it feels a lot less, I don't know what word I can think of, but it doesn't feel like as heartbreaking because you have this tribe that you just see dwindling so quickly, opposed to a bunch of people and it has so many different possibilities. It's like on a tribe of 6, or like we saw tonight, a tribe of 4, one person's going home. It's no way, for them to swing it back in their favor when they're only working with one people. But when it's a bigger tribe, the dynamics, I think it's a lot more wiggle room for gameplay when a tribe loses for an individual person who's kind of found themselves at the bottom of the totem pole.
Ra, let me tell you something. I was at Ponderosa praying that they voted out my entire tribe. So I'm not playing. I'm like, I was sitting there on that pier, vote them all out. Let them come join me. So I'm a little different on that one. I think it's just, you just never know how people are going to play the game. I mean, you don't know who's your strength, who's your weakness. You may look at somebody that's big and actually they're weak. I mean, it's just so many dynamics that we see a dominant tribe every season.
Yeah.
We've seen one from 41 until now. We've seen a dominant tribe come out of the pack, and then we see them have to survive the merge. But here's the thing about Survivor. You see they're dominant coming into the merge. They got 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
You got 4, and we don't see nobody try to get rid of nobody. They be like, well, no, I'm going to wait. It's too early. And then we see that same tribe go to the end, and then they become the ones to pick who's going to be the winner of Survivor that season. So I don't know if you make it 2 tribes, that means somebody can hide a lot better.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, okay, I can dodge a couple of bullets. I can team up with some folks. But then when you break them down to 3 tribes, you're back to the same scenario. Somebody's about to get decimated until you get back down to that dominant tribe. And again, we'll see more people who get split up. Now, when we do the merge, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. But I will say this right here. They've been successful in making it better every season and learning from what we've had as feedback and just seeing how it actually plays out on TV. Because last year we had a great season. This season is different. And I think our expectation is now just to kind of compare both seasons. But Morriah, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was on that pier every night praying for rain and votes. Rain and votes. Get them.
I love that you brought up. I love that you brought up the seasons, Abraham, because I think this is something that our analyst Matthew has been saying, along with Ollie and Phil on Got Something For You, about how this season has kind of had a slow start because of the whole Yanu situation going back to Tribal Council. And I think it's a little bit tough because I think maybe where some of the, I don't want to say hate, maybe some of the dislike for this season so far coming from some of the fans has been because season 44 was, a home run. It was really, really good. And then it's like, oh, how can 45 live up to 44? And then that season was really, really good as well. And I think 46, I think just because of the situation at hand with the whole Banu as well situation of he's taken up a lot of the screen time. I think that's why it's been, I think the cast is great. I think it's just a little slow start compared to what we've been having in recent seasons, and recency comes into it. Those are the seasons fans remember the most, the ones that they just watched. So a lot of time there is comparing, like we're comparing 46 to what 45 was. And as of now, it doesn't compare to 45.
Well, it's like,
I think what's inevitable too is like no matter what Jeff does, there's gonna be complaining. There's gonna be like a group of fans who's gonna hate if it stays in 3 times. There's gonna be a group of fans who have an uproar if it goes back to 2 tribes. So I think the hate, no matter what happens, is gonna be a little bit inevitable.
I think that's what makes it fun too. Here's the thing about it is you can't get an action movie every episode.
Yeah.
Sometime it has to be a drama, and it was a drama tonight. It was definitely not an action movie.
Wait tonight's episode though. Unless
we get Tim. Tim was doing some things out of pocket, and I hope his knees and ankles ain't hurting. But it's some episodes you just get a drama. It's just not. But you got to remember, it's 90 minutes. We get to see the whole Banu episode, the Tiffany. I mean, we get to see all that versus you got to pick your poison on things. We get more of it, but we also get a drama this time. Now, next episode might be, it might be a fast-paced action movie. Then we love Survivor again. We're just so finicky out here in the world. We be like, no, I need action every night. No, we got to develop and see what happens. Now, the funniest thing I saw tonight was they was washing their clothes in the pot. Right? Did y'all wash y'all clothes in the pot?
We didn't even get to the clothes washing stage by the time I was going.
I washed my clothes back. Hey, I was back at the Ponderosa wash.
Pretty clean when I got
They were still fresh. I think I still was putting out good stuff. Oh, wait a minute.
Trying to hold on to the fire scent. I was like, no.
No, that's memorabilia right there. So I mean, yeah, I think I got to try to loop in Abraham going to washing clothes in a pot back to the episode. I'm just going to go back to how Morriah started us when we started talking the episode, and that is about her girl Soda. This is the first point I wanted to bring up. And Tevin wanting to make a move. I'm interested to hear, Morriah, about what you think. You already said you love the dynamic between Tevin and Hunter, but you also love your girl Soda. And it was
Tevin. Tevin is my son. So first of all, this was not my choice. This is Twitter decided this. Apparently, Tevin is me and Bryce's son, and we both have partial custody. I did not make this up. This came from a Twitter post. And I saw it. It resonated with me. And I was like, God, this is so true. I said, this is totally our kid.
It's so true.
Now I'm between like loving Soda deeply. I love the relationship between Tevin and Hunter. But then also like my son, I'm going to back him up 100%. He can do no wrong. But I'm afraid that I'm wondering if that move is going to be made too quickly. Because I just feel like everyone plays so fast in Days 26. And I do understand playing fast. But my worry is once they get rid of Soda and they see that, okay, this super big threat, this person who we perceive as a big threat is gone, their eyes are going to go to the person who pushed that vote. So I understand that he's like trying to plant those seeds. I just don't want it to come back and bite him in the butt before the merge even happens. Because my theory is if Soda does make it to the merge, it's not just going to only be their tribe who perceives her as a threat. The other 2 tribes will as well. So I just am wondering if it's a little bit too quick for that vote. Because I'm like, I get it. She'll go to the merge. Everybody will see her as a threat. She can make it to the final 3. But if everyone sees her as a threat, you can get rid of her later. So I don't know.
I agree. I mean, before Abraham gives his opinion on it here, I agree 1,000%. That's what I wrote in my notes. I feel like this is a move that is happening too early.
Yeah.
And I think like, a lot of times, as you stated, with the 26 days, you can look at it and be like, oh, I gotta, make these moves as fast as possible. And really, establish my game early on. And I'm like, I totally understand why Tevin thinks that Soda is a threat. Like I see it too. That is someone who she's very charismatic. She's going to get along with a lot of people. but you can keep that until the merge, and it's called a blindside. You can do that blindside later on in the season. Keep her around now. I think that's a good ally for you. I thought it was interesting. Not only did we see Tevin go to Hunter about it, and obviously you want to have your best friend in the game, but you need the numbers. And not only did he go to Hunter, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name right now. Liz. Yeah, he went to Liz as kind of like a third vote. And I found that really interesting. Maybe I'm reading too far into the edit here, but I was like, is Liz that number 3 ally for Tevin and Hunter moving forward? And then
I think Liz is just going with the popular vote, which is fine, I think, also for this stage in the game. But I'm worried that even the words he used with her could come back to bite him, because he was like, I'm here to play, like, so if I feel like somebody's manipulating other people, I'm going to try to get them out. So that's like, oh my God, she could totally take that and like flip that on him and go back and tell Soda that, or go and spread that to other people. So I'm really worried about it, because I feel like even the way they edited it, I'm like, this is going to come back up. Like, this is coming back up in a couple of, if not next episode, in a couple of episodes.
You probably want to go with Q when Q was trying to give that tutorial to Botto on what not to say. And then hold up, why does Tevin have this big net for fishing net and they still don't have no fish? Anyway, I think it's interesting where people play before the merge and after the merge. You would vote out somebody that you need before the merge and be like, okay, I got to vote them out. No, you don't have to vote them out. You got to figure out what 2 people works with you. And I think Soda's figured that out. She's a social butterfly with everybody. But I think she's going to team up with Venus. And I think they're going to turn. I think they're going to turn. And she's going to realize that Tevin is trying to vote her out. And they're going to say, okay. But if you lose a challenge, now you're in a different situation. Who goes first? Also, their hidden immunity idol is still there. It got put back in the game. They just haven't found it yet.
Do we know it's back in the game? I mean, it hasn't been confirmed that it's back. It should.
I mean,
but
it should be, because he was taken out for medical, so it should have been put back. It'd have been nice if he'd have gave it to Venus on the way out the door, and then we didn't have to worry about this. But I just think she's going to play a game, and I think her personality is so resonant with everybody that if your name ain't on the chopping block and there's somebody else's name, I think that's where Liz falls at. As long as you don't say my name, I'm going with whatever. That's
how I feel Liz is playing too right now. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad gameplay move. I just think it's a safe move. But sometimes safe will get you far. I mean, the other thing about Soda and Tevin is, like, yes, she's a threat, but she's not a threat to you yet. She serves as like an ally, first of all, but also she serves as a shield, because I'm like, are people not realizing that Tevin's probably the biggest threat on that tribe? He has a connection with every single person. So I'm just like, if Soda goes, everyone's going to begin to realize that he's a threat. And I really foresee, if the cookie crumbles where Soda goes, I really foresee him and Hunter being like this, and Hunter even being blindsided with them turning and going against Tevin.
Hunter would definitely get blindsided in the course of this game.
I foresee that. They're playing the game.
And they're doing such a good job of playing the game. They're like, be sociable, be around each other, talk to each other. Now, Venus had a rocky start, but now she's not getting any edits. I mean, where we thought she was going to be the first one voted out. And we saw with Soda did some stuff that she probably going to need to do some fence mending if she's going to be on her side.
Yeah.
If not, y'all might like Soda, but she's gone.
I was going to say, you know who I think's in a really good position is the person that I have as my winner pick, Hunter. I think Hunter is, I know we saw it last episode with Venus saying, I see right through Hunter's facade. And I am kind of shocked that Tevin was so quick to kind of detour away from Venus. And now he's like, I think Soda's the next target. But you said it, Morriah. I think people realize, we heard Venus talking about this specifically earlier on in the season, that Tevin is the ringleader. She said, look, Tevin is literally has this, like, it's friends with everybody. And that's why I think Hunter's in a great position. And what I think is best for Hunter's game is he needs to ensure that Tevin stays in because of that shield tactic. Because I think as long as Tevin is there, Hunter's not going to be the main target.
I think if Hunter, Tevin, and Soda all stays together and they work together, they could really run the game. They could really run that game going into the merge.
Yeah.
But I really foresee if they vote out Soda, I can see it Tevin being next, and then I just foresee Hunter getting through. I think Hunter can make it without Soda, but I don't quite necessarily know if Tevin can, because like you said, Hunter's playing really low key. Tevin isn't. The reason why he's not really a perceived threat to the rest of the tribe right now is because of Soda. But once she's gone, he doesn't really have that protection anymore, and that scares me.
If a merge comes, and that's going to be interesting to see where they actually land. That's going to be another factor, because if Tevin and Hunter get split up, now you're waiting to try to get back with each other to see if we can actually keep going forward. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. And let's say they don't merge. Let's say they do. The merge these last past seasons been kind of janky. It's a merge, but it's not
about
a merge.
Merge a lot. But what about tribe swap? Like,
I would love to see a tribe swap.
Is that a possibility this season? And how do you think that would work out if there was a tribe swap?
One more vote, tribe swap. I would love to see it.
I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't be shocked, especially if Yanu goes back to tribal council. Then it's almost forcing your hand at that point. You have to do a tribe swap. And again, I mean, that's something, not to loop back to it, but you could swap to 2 tribes at that point. Probably not, but we'll stay with the 3. But we saw it kind of last season, how it shook things up. So I'm always down for a tribe swap. I will say this about my dude Hunter. If you keep performing so well in the challenges, you're not going to make it far into the merge.
I don't know about that. I don't know, because it makes me think about my season and Cassidy. She was a challenge beast, and she made it far. So I don't know. I don't know if people are really focused anymore on challenge beasts as much as like the social butterflies.
I think if you can talk to everybody and you have a genuine type of relationship with them, it changes it. Because here's the thing about it is the extended version of Survivor lets you see a little more of the social side of what Survivor is about, but we still have 12 more hours that you never see. We're talking about each other's family. We're talking to each other because there's no TV, there's no internet, there's no phone. All you have to do is talk. So when you're not talking to somebody, that's when paranoia sets in. But you're just getting to know each other, and you learn a lot in those 9 days. You learn the whole history of somebody, so it's great to be a part of that. But at the same time, who is actually, I think Soda is the best at it. And if I look at it, Q and them just got the tribe decimated, but Q and Tiffany and them, they still had a good relationship in the tribe. Now, Jim and them over there, Gemma and Tim.
Well, we're gonna get to that next. I got a few comments to show here. So Jay says that could be setting up for a Soda blindside next episode. Definitely what Morriah was saying. It definitely could be coming up. And then I got Kins praying they don't realize how big of a threat Tevin is. I have him high on my draft. Best of luck with that. And then Jay, another comment. Mergatory is likely going to be at Final 13. So there's probably only one more vote before Mergatory, so probably not going to get a tribe swap. So that's right. They always happen like so early on now of seasons. But let's go ahead and get to the Siga tribe. Jim re-hiding the Beware advantage. Maria ends up finding it. It sends the tribe on this wild journey to dig up whatever's under this tree, whatever's under this spot. I tweeted something out tonight. It was a scene from Holes, where everybody's digging and then they look around and there's like holes all over the place. And I said, this is Siga looking for this immunity idol. So, I mean, I guess my first question before we get into like the gym side of things, because such a brilliant move. This is the type of gameplay I want to see, like the extra stuff. She didn't have to hide it, but she did. And it wonderful content from Jim and a wonderful move. But how long would you two dig before you're like, okay, there's obviously someone replanted this?
Until I wouldn't put a time frame on it. I would do facial expressions. Like when everyone looks like they're doubting and it's not just me doubting, then I'd be like, okay, so I'm not crazy. I don't know how long that would be, because again, time is just such such an abstract idea out there. But once you're just digging to the point where you're just like, you're looking around, it's like nobody else gonna say it's not here. Okay.
So them ants hit you twice, you'd have been like,
Mm-hmm. Also, Carla tweeted that is where
yeah, I'd have been done.
that is where the bathroom was.
It's like, I'm with you, Mariah. I mean, time has no meaning on Survivor on the island. It has no meaning. 2 hours, 3 hours, you're not doing anything else anyway, so you gotta do it. But I think where Gemma probably made a calculated mistake. I think it was a great move for the show. I think it was great to go back there. But the beware advantage is really not the advantage I would have hidden. Because now it's like you've almost exposed yourself to saying somebody has something. Mm-hmm. No matter if you try to paint the picture on somebody else, somebody has something and you don't know what it is. I would have just kept it to myself. And I don't know why it's that so hard in Survivor. Just keep it to yourself.
Gosh. Okay. I knew it couldn't just be me.
Yeah, because now you've exposed that. It could, and if it backfires and they find out you really did have it, now it's just a whole thing that you didn't have to even bring up.
Because at some point it's gonna come out because you're going to get an advantage. So once you use that advantage, everybody who's still left on your tribe is no longer gonna trust you. So it's gonna come out. I think she was doing exactly what she said she was doing, which was having fun. And I think it is funny and hee ha ha, but I do think in the future it can come back and bite her in the butt.
So what if it comes down to the last 6 players and 2 of those players are from her old tribe and she plays it because she thinks she's gonna get it voted out? They're gonna be like, wait a minute. You've had this the whole time. Keep it to yourself. For you future Survivor players, stop telling everybody. Now, if it was a different type of thing and you can make a fake idol or something like that, like we saw in the last episode, I would rehide it.
Abraham, she's still keeping it to herself. This is a masterful move because no one has any idea that she has it, and now everyone thinks Tim has it. She's been able to pinpoint that onto Tim. Oh, I'm just like
short game. You playing the short game. I'm playing the long game.
In the future, it's going to what does that saying? The truth always comes to light.
Well, it's gonna come to light
when she uses it. How many people are gonna be? All they have to do is lose immunity once. They said lose immunity once, and then she gets the advantage.
Yeah.
Then you get the advantage, and then you can use it whenever. Then it's revealed to your entire tribe that you had it. And then your entire tribe goes back to the other people and the other tribes once you guys merge to let them know what you did. Like, oh, well, Jem rehid the idol and then tried to pretend like it was buried here. So I just feel like it's going to just sow distrust even among the rest of the tribe people and the rest of the people in other tribes who she hasn't even met yet.
And don't forget, Maria has an extra vote. So she doesn't need a 3rd or 4th person. She has an extra vote.
I will say it's masterful for the moment, but for the moment.
For this episode, it was great. It was great to see somebody do something so we didn't have such a drama-filled moment. But playing the long game, it's not a good thing. I wouldn't expose that advantage.
That's what I need from players going out there. I feel like nowadays it's just like they're all super fans, obviously, and I feel like it's been less gameplay and more like, let's just enjoy the time out on the island. I want more cutthroat gameplay like this.
Calling me out.
I'm not calling anyone out. Mariah just logs off, and I'm like, "What? Where'd you go?"
I'm kidding.
That's why I love this. I love the fact that there's a little deceit to it, and it's a little bit naughty from.
No. I don't disagree with you with that. I think that was a great move. I'm just saying, not with the beware. Use a regular and just make a fake idol or something. The beware guy, Not to mention, somebody gonna be mad about them ants. Somebody's gonna be pissed about them. I don't know.
Well, a couple of them was getting bit up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody noticed this or pointed it out, but the whole tribe was digging except for her. She was linked up against that tree, just watching them the whole time. I said, Jeff did not dig, not a one time. She was just in there like
somebody go figure it out.
Somehow she pinned it on like Tim because he was digging the most. And they're like, he's
Yeah.
overcompensating. I'm like, my dude's putting in the work over here.
It was Maria's beware advantage. I'd have said, Maria, if you want to get this, you have to find yourself. I'll just stand here.
They were working. They were definitely working.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out on that tribe. So it gives us something to look forward to and be like, let's see what happens. I would say that beware advantage is I'd like the beware advantage because it has a little steps in it. You just don't go out there and just lose your vote and you don't have a chance to get it back. So it's kind of cool to have the box. But
I like the beware advantage. I don't like that it's not obtainable until after your tribe loses. That part lost me this season. Like we have to like sneak around and find beads, or you have to decipher these hieroglyphics off of the flag, like because then it allowed you to be able to obtain it during camp life, and you can get it. But it's like, okay, but now we have to lose in order for me to get the next step. I don't like that.
Mariah, I added this. No, I think Abraham loves it. I hate it because I think this is like pushing tribes. We should never. I already hate enough when people lose challenges on purpose. And this is, thankfully, knock on wood, we have not seen it. But Abraham, I'm shocked that you like this because like it's almost pushing tribes to
an
lose.
incentive to throw the challenge.
The tribes are too small. They're too small to throw it.
We've seen it before.
I don't think they're too small to throw it. Honestly, all you need is one person to throw it, a really good actor or a really bad actor. Like, honestly, it doesn't really take that much to throw a tribe, to throw a challenge.
But you throw your whole strategy off. That's like voting out soda before you need to vote her out. We're back to the same thing. But here's the thing about it. I like the concept behind the beware advantage. How you execute that is going to be interesting. So as fans, we look and say, I wouldn't have done that. But then other people are like, no, I think that's a great move. So it's just going to be interesting. And it always keeps us captivated to look at the next episode to see how it plays out. But I'm keeping that box.
Abraham, you say that like no one's going to throw it because it throws off your gameplay. If you say you can have an immunity idol right now, if your tribe loses, I'm not worried. If I'm someone like Tevin or Hunter, I'm not worried about losing because I know it's not going to be me. And even if it does end up being me, I have an idol now. So I'm willing to take that chance. And you also say that it's difficult to throw a challenge. I look at today's immunity challenge. All I would have had to do to throw that is to say, hey, I'm good at basketball. Put me on that raft. I can shoot. And then maybe I hit one and maybe I hit two. And then I just start missing that final one. That's
or be the person. Like, for example, Banu was not throwing the challenge, but it looked like he was. Like when he was coming out to get the balls, you could just easily like take forever to swim, take forever to jump, like whatever. Like I feel like it would be so easy. Even though I think it was the reward challenge where they had to get the ring off the post. Like, give me a break. Like, you just throw it up and drop it.
Mariah, can you swim?
Yeah.
Can you swim? Mariah, can you swim?
Well, debatable.
Look,
kind of not really. Like, I get really nervous and terrified. Like, I have a really deep fear of the water. I took a bunch of swimming lessons before I got on Survivor, but like I still very much struggle. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be taking swimming lessons for like another 5 years to get my life together because like it's such a deeply rooted fear I have within me. It's insane.
I saw so many people jump in the water with their hands on their nose when they jumped off. And by the time they got to the bottom, they let go. I was like, okay, how that works out.
Probably would have been me.
My
hands and my feet waving like that too. Like I'm definitely like a.
I'm just extremely disappointed that not one single person did a cannonball. Like, that is your TV moment right there. But we did get Charlie giving a huge shout out to Taylor Swift. Abraham, do you have something you want to add? I was just about to go to ad break, but go ahead.
You know what? I'm thinking about what you think about when you're doing challenges. It just sometimes you just forget, or you're just trying to get it done. And I think Bono just was exhausted. What they don't show is they show it start, but they don't show the level of exhaustion you have to go through once you don't swim through the water. And then he had to swim back because he jumped off, and I was like, what happened?
Just tired.
I can tell you about exhaustion.
I can imagine being on the show itself, just dealing with how tired you get and no food, especially in the new era. Definitely, he had to be exhausted. But we will
we'll talk about that fish when we get back.
We will actually talk about the challenge. Abraham, I'm just going to let you do this. No, we will talk about the challenges and stuff and a bunch about Banu right after this ad break.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I want to welcome you to Todd's Pop Shop. Here, me and my husband Jess, we custom make Funko Pops. We'll make literally anybody or anything you could imagine. But being that we're here listening to the Survivor Now podcast, I'm assuming you're all Survivor fans. So take a look at these. Some custom Funkos of your favorite Survivor winners, Sandra and Yule. Or how about Big Brother fans? Suri Goddess herself playing the game of Big Brother. You can also get her in Survivor form. Or maybe yourself with your favorite buff and a torch playing the game. But even better, get yourself with your favorite player like Nora here with Ozzy. And since you're listening to the Survivor Now podcast, if you mention this ad, you will get $10 off your first order and free shipping. All season long, Survivor 45 should be a good one. Mention this ad, $10 off and free shipping. I'll be watching too, still a diehard fan to this day. Hit me up on Instagram, Todd's Pop Shop, or toddspopshop@gmail.com, or on Facebook, and I will see you soon.
I know he said season 45, but that deal is still running. So if you mention Survivor Now to Todd on Instagram, Facebook, however you reach him, you do get that free shipping and I believe it was $10 off. Sorry, that was my drink break, cough break, and everything. So yeah, I believe it was that. I also just finished watching. Everyone's going to be like, "What? You're running a Survivor podcast and have never seen it?" I just finished watching Survivor China for the first time today. So I felt yeah, Morriah, little behind the scenes. So I consider myself a Survivor expert, but there was this weird gray period that I have never seen. And it was from Survivor season 11 around that time to Survivor season 23, 11 to 23. So now
that's not bad.
I've been watching it through. I just finished China. So now I'm down to 16 fans versus favorites to 23. I believe South Pacific. I think, yeah, around that area. That's all I have left, and then I've seen every season. So does
that make you a super fan when you look at every season? Does that what make you a super fan?
No, let me tell you something, because I thought I was a super fan until I got on Survivor and then met real super fans like Dwight and Lindsay and these people who can they can name a season, an episode title and tell you what it was about. And I'm just I cannot do that. They'll look at pictures of the beaches and be like, "Oh, that's where this tribe was." And I'm just I've just seen every episode and every season, but some people have it down to a math.
JD was our guy. JD knew all the episode, all the players and everything. I'm like,
it's incredible.
That's the crazy thing.
Can I get a card with a face on it? Something to help me out? Because I can't remember.
No, that's the crazy thing is there's people on this podcast who have done this. I'm pretty sure Tegwith is someone who they've seen the episode so many times. You could bring out a moment and they would know that moment immediately. They remember what happened every single season. Going back and rewatching these seasons, it hasn't been too long since I watched Survivor Cook Islands for the first time. And I already don't remember, my memory is just give me a couple of things and it's instantly even going back to 41, 42 in a sense, I remember big moments, but in terms of what happened every single episode, I couldn't tell you.
You want to DVD because I got it at my house. When I got the call to be on the show, and it was a little further along in the process, I knew I was going. Every day I watched Survivor. Every day I would work out and I would look at Survivor and I would look at the game and see who was playing. Because I thought it was going to be 2 tribes. I thought it was going to be the 30+ days. I was like, I got to get ready. Then I get there, 3 tribes.
Yeah, 26. That changed everything. I got a few comments here I want to show. Ken's is getting on to me. 11 and 23 are the best seasons. What I know, like I've never seen Ken's versus favorites. I've never seen heroes versus villains, and everyone says like that's the best one. My brother's in the chat. My internet failed. Who got voted out? We're going to be talking a lot about him just after these challenges, but Banu was the person who got sent home. So yeah, let's talk about these challenges just really quick before we go on to the elimination tonight. A reward challenge for fish. Yanu actually was able to pull this one out. They kind of dominated. I don't want to be negative Nancy. Okay, so namaste. I was so excited when they showed us the kind of the segment where the tribes are finding out there's food on the line. And I was like, ooh, the fact they're showing us this, it must be something interesting. Like I was very excited. And then when he's like fish, I think I did send a tweet out that I was like, we couldn't do any. It's been rinse and repeat for the new era. It's like, first off, the reward is fishing supplies. Then after that, you either get a toolkit or a hammer or something, and then it's usually a fish reward. It's like rinse and repeat. I was hoping, and yes, this is me being a little negative Nancy, I was hoping for like maybe sandwiches, or maybe it's like a trip to the Survivor bakery or something. I understand like from a game's perspective, like in a player's perspective, that's amazing. That's what the players need. They need that fish to help them keep going. But from an entertainment standpoint, I'm like, I wish it was like a barbecue or something like that. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, though.
No, it's too early. I don't know. This might be insane to say, but like I grew up with, old school Survivor where a sandwich wasn't given to you until like you really had to earn it. So even sometimes, I mean, as a player, you love it because you want that nourishment, you wanted everything. But I sometimes do crave and miss like old school Survivor when it would like, I remember the days when you had to like negotiate for like an extra cup of rice and stuff like that. So the fish reward to me doesn't really bug me because I feel like that's compared to how rewards used to be and stuff. I feel like it's okay.
Look, I wish they'd have gave them a 1 pound bag of rice and a 2 pound bag of rice. Because here's the thing, you gave fishing gear.
Have them catch fish.
Nobody can't fish. I know we didn't catch no fish, but I'm like, don't give the fishing gear and then give them fish. Don't feel bad for them because you still got water and coconuts. You'll be all right. And then depending on which one of the islands you landed on, you may have something else to eat, papaya or something like breadfruit or something. So if you're going to play the shorter version of Survivor, I'm with you, Morriah. You don't get no fish. If you want some fish, hop out in the sea. It's right there next to you. Jump on the sea with the fishing gear. Somebody go out there and spear something, and you come back with the fish. But a cup of rice or a bag of rice, I could go with that as one of the rewards. But don't go to the merge feast and show me the same thing. Like Fiji does. Let me tell you something. Fiji has great food. We ate it for 2 weeks before we even filmed, so I know it has great food. So not to say Fiji doesn't have a KFC on the main island that you could bring over. They don't care if it's cold.
I've been saying this for years. I think, we even heard Jeff say, and I don't want to get too far into this because we've got a couple more things from this episode, but I've heard Jeff say, like, the reason we don't do the auction stuff, that costs money to set all that up and stuff. And I've always thought of, like, I don't want to saturate, Survivor in terms of, like, ads. But I'm like, why not make a deal? I loved when they did the Applebee's, like you guys are winning Applebee's. Mm-hmm. Why not? You still have like 6 million viewers an episode. Reach out to these companies, form some partnerships. Like if Chipotle reaches out and wants free advertisement, all right, today you're playing for a slice of home, some Chipotle. Like I'm okay with that. Let's have some sponsored rewards out there where it's like, this challenge is sponsored by KFC and you're playing for KFC. I don't want it like every single challenge, like, okay, KFC, this one, McDonald's, this one. But every once in a while, it's a way for Survivor to make money and it keeps these rewards a little bit interesting.
This has something to do with what we're talking about, but nothing to do with what we're talking about. Morriah, when y'all took the bus ride in, did y'all stay on the mainland before you went to the island, or did y'all take the bus ride from the airport straight to the boats?
No, we stayed on the mainland for a bit. You mean the
So
boats to go to our
to go to
prospective
Ponderosa.
islands?
No, when you went to Ponderosa.
Oh, I just went straight to Ponderosa.
See, we didn't go. So when we drove through that town or whatever town it was, we could see
Mm-hmm.
what kind of restaurants and stuff they had in Fiji because we drove through. But we were more isolated because of the pandemic. But I think I remember seeing a KFC. I can't remember now.
I don't remember seeing that. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing a KFC.
It's the Fijian KFC.
I remember the KFC, but
I'm trying to help Randy out to say why we don't have stuff there. And I'm like, did I see KFC riding in?
Yeah, it's just they just need to make it a tradition now to have the bus driver stop by KFC right before you guys are about to play the game.
Look,
but let's get to the immunity challenge. Same outcome, different day. My boy Hunter is putting in the work. He is a machine. What Tevin said. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and everyone's gonna be like, "What did he say?" Tevin said if Hunter gets those balls in his hand, it's over. And we all know what he meant. But like I almost had that feeling as well. I'm like, why do I feel like Hunter is about to sink all these shots? Brought him back. And then Yanu ultimately loses again. We spoke a little bit on Banu kind of slowly swimming. That kind of cost him. Plus he missed the crate. Saw a little bit of sassy Jeff in that sense of like, Banu, you got to go back. You have to go. So that cost some time. What went wrong for Yanu here? Morriah, I'll start with you. Why is it the same outcome here with them?
Well, first of all, I think it was Banu missing the crate and the swimming. But I also think they just put out all that energy for the reward challenge. So they probably were honestly just still a little bit defeated from that. And I don't know. I think when you keep winning and losing challenge after challenge, I think it does do something a little bit to your psyche where you just kind of like already expect to fail. I don't know. I don't know. The balls. They've been losing. I think they just can't pull it out in the immunity challenge. But we've seen this story happen before. I just think it's just like once you get on that downward spiral, it's really difficult to bring it back.
But they came off a win. They had a little high going.
Yeah.
By this time, y'all should figure out how to make fire without Flint because y'all got plenty of time. Y'all got nothing else to do. Here's the thing. I think that if we talk about throwing a challenge, Banu looked like a suspect on this one. He looked very suspectish. You're following everybody else in front of you, so you can kind of see. But Morriah, there's something we know about the challenge.
Yeah.
How could you mess it up? That's what there's a backstory right there that we know that there should have been no way he messed that part of it up, but he messed that part up. Now, and we don't get to see the entire challenge from start to finish. We only see what's the edited version. It looked like he had been in that water for a while. So now you're tired. But they still had a chance to win. They still was in it.
It was close because Q had caught them up and it was a tie.
He had that final shot. It was him between him and Tim.
But Tiffany couldn't get out there. She swam out there. I was like, you're not going to get there in time.
When they lost, it just felt like that ultimate. Oh my gosh. Even Tegwith, our analyst on Instagram, posted a video of her reacting to it. And she was just like, the heartbreak that they're going back to tribal council. The last thing I will say about the challenge, from another person who cannot jump, Morriah, I feel for you. I do not get off the air
she was doing good when she was doing her little practices. She was doing really, really good.
But what are you jumping off of?
The ground when they were practicing back at camp, remember?
Yeah, but I'm like, you just gotta fall. You ain't gotta jump. Well, you just go to the edge and drop off.
They thought they were thrown for like a curveball kind of because they thought it was going to be the challenge where you had to get the keys. I do love that Survivor chain setup. They're like, oh, there's no keys. You're just jumping. Hence why I was so disappointed there was no cannonball. Oh, missed opportunity. I know it's been done before.
Taylor Swift was in there, but no cannonball was. You gotta get
Taylor Swift was in there. Let's get to our final thing from this episode. I'll loop it in here. Not only did we have a coaching session for Banu, but I just want to say Banu's journey. and we can kind of touch on everything from this episode. Okay, I had a comment earlier from my brother who, for those of you who don't know, he actually says it here. This is his first season, like ever watching Survivor. And he said it's been pretty good, and I do wish they went to other countries. But when he found out Banu got eliminated, he said, "Thank goodness, I respect Banu's love for the game, but he might be one of the worst players I've seen." All love to Banu. I think I'll say this, and I'll keep it in a positive route. I think Banu got one of the harshest edits that we've ever seen for a Survivor player. And this one was tough to watch. And this is something, Abraham, you'll remember me saying this. I said it in either episode 1 or episode 2 of us recapping. I said, with how big of a super fan Banu is, and how long it's taken him to get out there. You know, he had to live in the States, get his citizenship before he could even go on the show. I said, when he gets eliminated, it's going to be one of the most emotional eliminations we've ever seen. Because this guy, he said it over and over again. I'm not here for $1 million. I'm here for 1 million hearts. He does not care about the money from what we see. He just wants to play the game. And we saw that this episode from the moment he got on his knees, begging Tiffany, help me, help me. And I think Tiffany had the proper response. You know, Banu, stand up. I'm not going to talk to you while you're on your knees begging me. Stand up. I'm sorry. The best I can do, the olive branch that I can extend to you, is tell you that I am writing your name down tonight. You are going home. And I think that was a respectful way to look at it, knowing Banu, how much this game means to him. There's no need to lie to this man and say, oh, we're going to try to vote Kinsey off and then blindside him. This man, for him to be on the ground, and you see how much he prays, because obviously religion means a lot to him. I think I respect the Yanu tribe for not lying to him, because that is something that it's just not necessary. This man is already at his lowest. He already knows his name's been on the block for days now. We've seen him going through the emotions of realizing there's really no route for him to stay in this game. If you chose to lie to him, it would just make it 10 times harder. So I respect them from the side of things for them saying, Banu, listen, we tried. Look, we voted out Jelinski. We voted out Jess. We've tried helping you. We can't. I'm sorry. It has to be you. So I'll turn it over to you guys. I'll go to Abraham first this time. Oh, you want me to go? I've been going to Morriah first, so I felt bad. but Abraham, go ahead. Say what you want to say about Banu, and then we can get a little bit more into like the training and stuff.
Here's what I'll say. Thanks for being human, because when you're on a Survivor, you're out on the island, there's a certain level of vulnerability you find yourself having to wrestle with. Most of us still try to control it. Banu did not control it at all. He was exactly who you see. I can't wait to meet him in person, but he gave you who he really is. Some of us, we're not used to being that vulnerable, and especially when there's a camera there or whatever. So it may take another 2 days before they get us. And then you see them and they'll break down and you'll see certain aspects of who they really are. But his gameplay in the game of Survivor is two things. One is the show. And Banu made for an excellent look into somebody's life and see with his praying and wanting to be on there and not wanting to go for the $1 million, but really just wanted to touch people's heart. He did that. But Banu was absolutely the worst player ever, because you know what you're getting into. Survivor is not a secret game. And if you call yourself a super fan, you have to have some type of understanding of how this game plays. And at this episode, I thought he actually was going to master the game and said, I'm not a puppet. I'm going to actually use what I have found out, and I'm going to play a better game. And it just didn't pan out for him. I would have loved to see him one more episode to see if the stuff that Q talks to him about or how he felt, he could actually turn that around and say, okay, now I'm playing the game. We just didn't see that part of him. I think he's a great person. I think they did a great job with casting somebody. And we also get to see somebody else's life and their story. Because I think when they go to Tribal and Jeff pauses, even though sometimes I call Jeff Messy Jeff, because Jeff does messy stuff at Tribal.
Not messy Jeff.
Oh, Jeff is messy as shit. He pauses so Banu can tell his story. And I think that's a great side of Survivor, because we come from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and we're put into this social experiment. And sometimes it goes great, sometimes it goes wrong, sometimes it goes unexpectedly. But he's achieved so much in his life. Survivor is not the marker of his life. It's a chapter in his life. And I think we saw a great episode for him. But I couldn't trust him either. As gameplay go, I don't know what Bono's going to do for me. I don't know if he's going to get me in the end or if he's going to tell everything. And I mean, that part of it is the entertaining part to me. We don't know what's going to happen next for him. But I love the fact that he has such vulnerability and he just showed it on Survivor. And if I was Tiffany, he had to get up. I couldn't talk to somebody because that really wasn't a part of the game. You're trying to stay in the game. Now, if you were doing it as a strategy, which he wasn't, I'd have been like, okay, I see how he's using the strategy, but that would have got me. I'd have been like, hey man, can you please get up? I just can't talk to you because you're a man and you're a grown man. Stand up. And we were going to have to do this exchange right here. But I love the fact that Tiffany said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to write your name down.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw, Morriah, I'm interested to get your take on this. We saw it with Kinsey too. I mean, she had a very honest confessional where she did have that like moment with Banu where she was like, Banu, can I just sit down for 5 minutes and not talk about strategy or whatnot? And yes, she did apologize. I give her props for that as well. But we saw the confessional where she's like, you know, this is someone who is, you know, way older than me. I shouldn't have to be, you know, holding your hand through this game and kind of, you know, come on, Banu, it's okay. She's like, at some point it does get to, you know, at some point it gets to the point where you have to be like, look, dude, there's nothing I can do. It's almost like when I was growing up as a kid and I would be whining about something. And eventually my mom's just like, you know what? I'm done. You're on your, you know, figure it out yourself. I've done everything. You know, maybe it was when I was like 10 or 11 crying about something. And she's like, you're 10 years old. You're not a 2-year-old anymore. And I think that's kind of the feeling we got with that scene. Morriah, what did you think about how Banu's game played out through this episode?
I think it was both heartbreaking and beautiful to watch, like at the same time. I think this idea of being human has always come up in Survivor, but in these most recent seasons, I feel like it's been coming up a lot more, especially like last season with like Emily Flippin when she was made out to be the villain episode 1. Then later on in the season, she became our hero. I feel like we have this tendency to view people through the lens of players and not as people. And I think that that's what we see as Banu. Like he came on Survivor to just be himself, to be this person, and didn't really think about his player persona at all. Like there was, I don't know if we've seen a moment of strategy from Banu that wasn't connected to who he really was. Whereas though I feel like a lot of people who's playing this season has a great way of decompartmentalizing who they are versus their gameplay. I kind of feel like it was interconnected with Banu a lot, and that's why it was so hard to watch. Like there was never a moment where he's like, oh, I'm strictly doing this as gameplay. It was always like, this is my belief, so this is how I'm going to play, or this is what I'm going to do because this is who I am at my core. And I think that's what made him a really bad player. And I empathize because in a way, that's kind of how I went into the game. I came into the game like, I really want to play and be my authentic self, and I want to make these genuine connections. And I think that the difference between Banu and other people who play the game is they form these genuine connections, but then they have that moment where they're like, okay, this is what's best for my game. I have to shut that off. And I think that's what he just struggled to do. I did really appreciate, like Abraham said, how Tiffany said, please get up. Don't, get on your knees. And I do appreciate that they told him the truth, because I don't think it was any reason to lie to him. But I think the moment of Banu's story that I appreciated the most was how he went searching for an idol. And I kind of like how that was given to us towards the end of his story, because it's like, yeah, you showed us this man who's crying on his knees, who's praying to the heavens, who's crying and pleading and begging. But like also there wasn't fully a moment where he completely gave up. Yeah. Like he still had this ounce of fight in him, climbing the mountains and looking for an idol, even though it wasn't there. So I wish that we would have maybe got a teeny bit more of that, but I appreciated that Jeff gave him the opportunity to tell his story. So
this might, go ahead, Abraham.
as players, we have a rare opportunity. We get to meet each other.
Yeah.
And we get to communicate with each other during the seasons and stuff. Because Morriah, when you were on the show, I sent you a text.
Yeah.
And it's like we understand what's behind the camera. And people don't understand what's behind the camera until you go out there and you actually have to live it and you feel it. And I thought the chair was the game. I was like, man, I can play that game. And then when you get there and you start playing, you realize that it is nothing like what you see on TV because you don't see the missing parts to it. And I think that's what the 90 minutes gives us, more missing parts to it. And to what Morriah said, I'm glad they show him going out still fighting.
Yeah.
And Jeff, and I'm gonna give Jeff his props. Give it an opportunity to tell his story and let people know that you can do exactly what I've done. To me, it was a success story. The game is not the mark of success for him. Him being on the game is a success marker because now you got to a part in your life where others can get there too. I don't know. I didn't ever think I was going to be on Survivor. Not really. I applied thinking the same thing everybody else did. Yeah, I'll try it. Let's see what happens. But I know what it feels like to be out there and to look up in the middle of the nighttime and see the night sky with stars in it and be like, I'm all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you
and I also think that I'm sorry, Randy.
No,
I also think that there's this element too that the way I always viewed Survivor and the reason why I always appreciated it is because there are a bunch of people who comes from different walks of life. And I feel like everyone tends to idolize and look up to the people who are there to just compete. We want real players. We want to see everybody. I want everybody to be there to compete. I want the toughest and the roughest players. And while I love the toughest and the roughest players, what makes Survivor so interesting is that we have real people too with different outlooks and real emotions and real feelings. And I think that that's what makes the game of Survivor so intriguing is because it's always been this microcosm of the world. So I feel like if we just get a whole bunch of people who have the same mindset, who are all there to play for the million and to play the game in the same way, it wouldn't be as interesting. It's kind of cool that we get players who are challenge beasts versus players who are social butterflies versus players who are just there for the experience versus players who never even watched the show. I think that is what makes Survivor like one of the most interesting reality shows. And if you take that away, then it would be Survivor.
Well, I think adding to that point, before I get to these comments here, I agree 1,000% with what you just said, Morriah. I think, but I will say in the sense, I think something that Survivor and the casting team has been doing is only getting super fans. And you brought up, people who are out there only for the money or people who have never seen the show before. I think we do need to get this, just a small side note. I think we got to get back to that where not everyone has to be super fans. Like, I love super fans. I'm a super fan. We need to get super fans on the show, but I would love to see some people who I don't know what Survivor is. I'm here because I need $1 million and I'm going to do whatever it takes, lie, cheat, steal to get $1 million. And like,
can you imagine someone playing who's never seen? I mean, on my season, we did have NECA, and she had never seen the show until that year. She had binge watched it during COVID. And so that was interesting because she wasn't like watching it for years. She had seen all of it, but it was because she watched it in this condensed amount of time. And even that was interesting. But someone on the show who's never seen it,
Morriah, that happened with Survivor Australia. Their casting is a little more loose with getting people. And we did interviews for them. And I counted at least 6 people who went on that season, never heard of Survivor, never even heard of it. And I think that's what Survivor US, they're so big on, like, apply to the show. We're casting, like Jeff has said it, we want people out here who love the show and want to play, and like that's fine. And a few weeks back, a big talking point was villains. We want villains on the show. And then some people did a little villainous stuff, and people instantly were like, "Oh, that was a terrible episode because everyone was so mean." And like,
I remember that.
But yeah, everyone's like, everyone says like, we need villains, and then people fight back with, we don't want another Russell Hantz. We don't want these terrible people on the show. And even Jeff said, we're done casting villains. We're not looking for bad people to put on the show. My clap back at that, I don't think you need to cast bad people to get villains. That's where I think if you don't only cast super fans, if you have a cast of 18 people and you cast 10 super fans and then you cast maybe a few people who've seen the show once or twice here and there, and then you cast people who never heard of Survivor. And like I said, all they care about is that $1 million. Say here, oh my gosh, $1 million. Maybe they're kind of like a frat boy energy where they're not going out there just to play. They don't care about the game. They're going to lie, cheat, steal, do whatever it takes to get that million. Then I think the villains that people want back are going to naturally develop rather than just casting a horrible person on the show. I just think we need a little more wide range, a few people who all they care about is the money out there.
I think Russell was a great player. Russell just had a different type of personality, and that's why he could never win, because he was an asshole. But he still, I mean, he played the game hard, and that's what you want to see. But I don't know if they know. I don't think when they say villain, you got to do some stuff to be a villain, and it's just going to be either side. People are going to either love the person that's the villain. I've seen people that were casted in previous seasons of Survivor as a villain that I wouldn't even talk to in my normal life. That's not a villain. That's just a person that's an asshole. So you got to be careful when they say villain, who's really playing the game as a villain type character versus a person that's like that. So there's about 3 or 4 people in the game of Survivor through this whole, all of them, that I just would never speak to in person, because they did something so heinous on the show that I'm like, that just wasn't even acceptable.
Wouldn't fly with you in real life. What do you guys think makes a villain, though, on Survivor? Like, if you had to give like 5 characteristics or 5 game moves or what have you, like, what makes a Survivor villain?
I will say this. I do not think there's been a villain in the new era, period. And then people who, the Castaway, Abraham, I'll get to you in a second. The Castaways that people have been alluding to as villains are Shan, Omar, Ricard. I'm trying to think. Those are the main 3 that I've been hearing as like, Jesse, in a sense, they said villain. I don't see any of them as villains. And anyone saying those people are villains, go back and watch old Survivor. You'll see villains. I think for me to say someone is a villain, it does take a little bit from the production team. Like, I need a villainous tone behind them. That's just a small side thing. But they have to be lying the entire game. I'm talking about, remember when players would get to the end, and I always hated this question from the jury, when they would be like, why should I vote for you? Because you lied and cheated with everyone here. And like,
own up to your lies.
I would always get mad if I made it to the end on Survivor and someone asked me that. I would straight up say, do you know what show we're on? That's literally the point of the show, is to like lie. But like, I need someone like that. I need someone who kind of plays a dirty game in the sense that they cut ties with everybody. And I want, we get to the end of the game now, and the jury is always like, they're all smiling. They're all like, congratulations. I'm talking the new era. They're all clapping. You all did great. Where are the juries that we used to get where people were super petty because it's like, you stabbed me in the back, you stabbed her in the back, you stabbed him in the back. So it's tough to say the 5 dynamics of a really good villain. But I think that's where it gets a little, what.
I guess my follow-up question to that would be then, who besides like the obvious, like besides like Jerry Manthe and Russell Hantz and some people, it's debatable whether people look at Parvati as a villain. Some people look at her as a hero. It's iffy. But who then, from old school Survivor, who would you consider to be a villain from those eras besides like the obvious ones? Who some people kind of conflict their player with their personality.
I think you're looking at people. Yeah, you got to think of, okay, the game is outwit, outplay, outlast. I'm going to fit everything in that criteria. What do I have to do to outplay you? If we look at Sandra didn't do no challenges. She's historical for not doing, but she played the game because she outwitted you. Emily, I think we looked at her as a villain in that first episode because she went after Bruce, and we was like, yeah. But we don't look at the rest of them in that tribe as saying, oh, okay, they're villains. Or you just made a great move that nobody saw coming. You don't have to be that person that's just so aggressive to do something to somebody.
To be a villain.
Yeah, I think villainous stuff is good. It's good. It's good TV. especially when you pull off a great blind side. I think, and then but we also want to see the cables where you play the shot in the dark and it actually works. You know,
I'll throw out Courtney's
I would even argue. I've seen a little hinting, a little bit. If we had to choose a villain this season, I could see Q kind of as a little bit of a villain.
I was gonna say Venus. I was gonna say Venus. But just because like I just threw out the name Courtney, and I don't know if everyone would agree she's a villain, but like someone who Courtney didn't take anything. She rolled her eyes at one point.
I love her. She's so cute.
At one point, she literally said in a confessional about Denise, you know.
Oh,
Denise,
that I remember that.
Yeah,
that was rough. That was rough.
I'm not gonna say it. Yeah, basically, like she failed at life and stuff like that. And that was something. Could you imagine if they said that on the new era today in today's society and stuff like that? Like, I'm not saying that was rough.
Hold on. I'm gonna pause you right there because I don't know if Morriah did the same thing. We have an HR briefing that we have to go through before. I don't know if y'all had to do that. So we won't be saying a lot of stuff on Survivor.
But
so you got to worry about that.
But it's stuff like that. Like I watched that and went, "Oh my gosh, Courtney!" And she went and apologized, and they're cool. They're like really good friends now. But it's like stuff like that. We just need some people out there who are sassy like that in the sense of like they don't need to make the end. Why do they need to make the end? They've already had their chance in life or stuff like that. We need some sass. And that's why I said Venus, because how many times this season, sorry, you won't see it with my glasses on, but how many times have we seen Venus like talk to someone and then go, roll her eyes? And like, that's what we need. I'm talking about like.
Soda might be the villain because she did play
with
that trophy.
That's why I said Q, because like he looked Banu
He's a liability.
And called him not only a liability, he called him his Philip. Like that to me is wild.
There's a villain too, and I'll throw out. How many times have we seen this new era? And this has been one of my biggest pet peeves. But how many times have we seen in the new era when someone gets voted out? And you turn around and you're like, thank you guys so much. This was a great experience. And then everyone's clapping. And I'm like, if I go out there and I'm the second or third one out, I'm probably going to give you the finger out the door. And that's what I need. I just need a little bit of pettiness and a little bit more sass.
Man, I was so exhausted.
Screaming.
I was exhausted by the time we got to tribal. People don't see it. By the time you get to tribal, you've been up since sunlight came up. And you pushing yourself, and then you go do the thing, and then you got to try to figure out who you're gonna vote for. And I'm sitting there literally about to fall asleep. I'm like, man, I'm tired, man. You know, whatever. Because I'm thinking I'm not getting voted out anyway. I'm gonna go back there and lay on the hut. Because I was like, but you literally are exhausted when you get to tribal, because it's all about them and their filming and staging and everything else. So that's why I say
you're literally not filming, but you're feeling so many emotions at once. First of all, it's your first time walking into tribal council. So you're just like in awe.
Amazing.
You're in awe. Like you're looking at the torches. You see Jeff sitting in his little blue shirt. You're looking at the fire and it changes every time. You're trying to you're literally taking in the landscape. You're sitting under the stars. You're putting your torch in while you're thinking about, oh snap, am I going home? Are we following the plan it's just, you are feeling every single emotion at once. And it's just, it's insane. Like it's on top of being hungry.
That's the thing. I haven't played the game.
Yeah, they never voted because there was no need to go vote. So I think it was a good use of the time of not having to go. Why go write his name down? You didn't have to write his name down.
I didn't like that. I wish they still voted just because we wouldn't have gotten the story. We wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to hear the story. You say the story, and then it's Jeff going, "Okay, let's go ahead and vote."
It's time to vote.
Yeah, it's still part of Survivor. It's still because it almost makes it feel like a quit, and that's still Survivor tradition. And Banu,
I still would have liked the vote as well because I feel like that. What is that? Like I deserve the vote almost kind of like that. Like that's kind of like it's a part that's a part of the experience. Like and then for me, it also pays a sign. It also I don't know. in my head, I would be like, there is always still a chance, a possibility. You never know what could happen when somebody's standing up in that booth. You could sit here and tell Jeff till you're blue in the face, just as blue as his shirt, that you're writing my name down. But you can go up and be like, you know what? Let me just write Kenzie's name down. Like you just never know.
Yeah.
Even if you would set at tribal council, set at tribal council. So I wish that they still would have voted, even though they had already told him it was him and he was going home. Still vote.
Yeah,
So,
he still deserves the tradition, Abraham.
They could have voted it. We didn't see it. I mean,
Jeff's got.
No, I don't think they did.
Jeff's gotten lazy. He already said with the long immunity challenges, he doesn't want to be out there for hours. This was his chance to get back to the hotel. Pretty fast.
He is not.
Yeah. I don't think so. I thought that it was his in his own special way, giving Banu a break, which I understand. I just wish he still would have given him the vote.
But let me get to some of these comments, and then we will wrap it up here. Sorry, I'm getting back to where.
If I'd have known I wasn't coming back, I'd have took me some stuff out of that little room.
Ken says, very true. I do feel a little bad for him. My brother, not the worst player. Don't forget about Jelinski. Oh, that's tough for Jelinski. And then we got a
fan. I'm sorry, that dude is hilarious.
He was hilarious. And then we got
career in comedy.
He broke the hourglass. He got to go. I can't.
Kenzie spitting facts when she was like, "I'm not babying this man." And then I got a few more here I want to show. Kens, I liked when they approach people at bars and taco stands and beg them to play. You got some wild people. She brings up the fact that Parvati had barely watched Survivor when she got cast for Cook Islands.
Right, because she was actually going out for Amazing Race.
Yep, so good call out. You get interesting. I think they need to stop casting just super fans. And then my brother, answer your question. A villain is like the guy who dumped the rice on the ground. And Brandon Hans.
Earlier, that was Russell Hanson's nephew.
Yes.
But that's also
Brandon Hans.
It was a couple people dumped the rice. Brandon was one of them.
No, but that was he emptied the bag, and I think he poured it in the fire.
Do you guys remember Shane too? Back what season was Shane on? He was the smoker. He almost
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
That's a good villain. Someone who's not scared to tell you, you're stupid or whatever. I think we don't get those people anymore because especially with social media, how it is, like you can't say that stuff anymore. But like he was like a villain in a sense. But let me show you guys what we have going on this week. Because I said Morriah was just the beginning of our Survivor Now and Then week. By the way, if you enjoyed the video today, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for getting us to 1K. But tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Brandon Donlin from last season, it was last season. I got them mixed up. From season 45, joins Tegwith and Kara to recap everything that happened this episode from a social standpoint. They will break down in great detail all the social moves and where players are at in terms of their alliances and stuff like that. And then on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, the Stockwatch boys, Jack and Will, are joined by Troy Zan. This will be his second time on the show. And let me tell you, Abraham and I spoke with Troy Zan one time. And that's going to be a super fun episode. We could talk forever about Survivor, and Troy Zan, I know, is very excited to come back on and chat about what we all consider the greatest competition out there. And then you spoke about her earlier, Morriah. One of the greatest villains out there, one of the most historic Survivor players. Jerry joins Got Something For You Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. She will join Matthew, Ollie, and Phil. As you know, this is the last show we do every week. Got Something For You. And it's kind of a chance for our guys. They rewatch the episode. So everything's kind of calmed down. Obviously, the three of us have been reacting to the episode after just watching it. These guys take some time to let everything cool down, and let's actually talk about what we can expect moving forward. And then we did just get done covering Survivor Australia, Titans versus Rebels. What an incredible season that was. We were joined by the winner of Survivor UK, Matthew Haywood, to break down the finale week. And you can check out that video as well as all of our exit interviews on Survivor on our YouTube, or go to survivornowpodcast.com. We just interviewed the winner yesterday and the guy who finished third place that season. So lots of fantastic content lined up for Survivor Now moving forward. And then, if you missed any of the content, go back and check it out. Ken's just added Survivor Australia Titans versus Rebels was so good. It was one of the best seasons I've ever seen. And then Anthony says, Banu was fun to watch. He sure was. Brought a bunch of entertainment. Before we officially wrap up, first off, Morriah, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a pleasure. Do you have a winner pick moving forward?
It was so much fun. My winner pick is interesting because I never pick like good. I feel like people get so in depth with drafts. I just pick people based off of who I love, and so my winner pick this season is just my son. I can't not pick family. Like I'm rooting for Tevin, but I also have another winner pick. Okay, my alter ego twin, the other Morriah, the one-armed Morriah, we have the same name. I feel like I can't not root for her, and I'm hoping that she beats the curse of the M's because I didn't. So fingers crossed. But yeah, those are like the two people I'm rooting for right now.
What's the curse of the M's again? It's yeah,
if you are on a tribe with the letter M, the first time you go to tribal, you will be voted off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I have to send you that video. I did a whole breakdown of the curse of the M's and research and everything. That's how I coped with my vote off.
Oh my gosh, yes, please send that just so I can see it. And then
I'm still covering.
If you want us to post it on our Instagram, we will, because everyone needs to know about this. But Morriah,
I will send you my breakdown of the curse of the M's.
Morriah,
I will tell you this right here. The coolest thing I saw this year was I was on a plane flying somewhere, and I was on Delta. And our season of Survivor is on Delta Airline.
Whoa, that's cool. See, and now I'm like, just put them all on there. Okay.
Yeah, it's great marketing for Survivor, and get a cool Survivor reward.
It gets you through the flight.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't never gone back and look at my own season, so I couldn't tell you.
Man, yeah, he needs to go back, watch his season, watch also.
I haven't rewatched mine either. I have clips of myself where I'm doing good.
Alex, no.
on my Instagram, but I haven't rewatched my season.
Oh my gosh.
They have so much more pictures and footages of the last 3 or 4 seasons. They got so much more stuff than we got doing our season.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm still upset by the fact that they get their torches and ours got sent to eBay. So
you will get Abraham on this whole thing about the torches. So thank you guys.
Wrap it up.
I get so hard with Abraham because he said so. No, I love you, Abraham. You know that. Thank you so much again, Morriah. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to tune into everything we have for the rest of the week, Survivor Now and Then. And Morriah, one last thing. Where can people find you on social media?
People can find me at Rainbow Queen on Instagram. I spell rainbow a little bit differently because I reign over my life. It's REIGNBOW Queen on Instagram, TikTok, and on one more platform, which is leaving my brain because I probably don't use it that much. But
yeah, so check it out, Rainbow Queen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.